This is just Bob Bowman, and I'm coming with another video. And in this video, I want to do a little bit of self reflection. And the reason why I'm sharing this self reflection is because I believe that this will help others with their self reflection on this topic. Um, Understanding what's going on in society, the shaming language that's going on in society, uh, what it is that I learn about myself, things that I need to improve and change on, and to understand that to become the best version of myself, uh, I cannot live my life to please others. And the topic that I had to ask myself, and this is the topic: am I a narcissist? And the reason why I asked this question is because I was accused of being a narcissist, especially around the 2020, 2021 years. Um, it was a situation that happened that was pretty ugly, and it happened around the time when things in my personal life was falling apart, and I had some individuals trying to force me into a situation that I was totally against, that I totally didn't want to do. And it was a lot of rumors spread about me. It was a lot of lies put out there that a lot of people believed. Uh, it was just a lot of negativity that happened to me, and it almost tore me up. You know what I'm saying? Where I almost got to the point to where I couldn't function, and I was already having other issues going on in my life that was becoming very hard for me to overcome. And I was accused of being a narcissist because there was a woman that I wasn't attracted to that had several children by different men that wanted a relationship with me, not because she liked me, but because she needed help with her children. And since I was single and I was having a hard time with getting with women, and the women that I did get with, they really didn't respect me. And she was like, well, he should just deal with this and deal with me and just deal with this situation. And I pretty much said I wasn't going to do that. And I had individuals that was like, okay, we're going to make him pay for it. We're going to try to destroy him, destroy his reputation. We getting tired of him. We're going to remove him away from us by any means necessary. And that happened. And I was canceled and I was isolated. And even to today, I still feel the remnants of what happened, even though I've been working on getting myself together and overcoming the situation. And I had to understand that a lot of it was projection that was happening to me. And what I mean is, and I'm going to give an example, it was a woman that made a TikTok video where she said that if men talk about preferences all the time, that they are doing nothing but looking for a showpiece to show everybody else that they can have what it is that they want, that they're successful, and that they going to use that woman as a showpiece until she's worn down, and then he'll probably try to look for something else if that showpiece isn't giving him the attention that he thinks that he deserves. And I want to say that I feel as though that is projection, because it's women that do that. Women that look for men that they can use as a showpiece. Like that woman that I talked about earlier, she wanted to use me as a showpiece because she really didn't want me as a person, but she needed me because she wanted a relationship, and she couldn't get the type of relationship where she felt like she could dominate and control that man and get him to do what it is that she wanted to do while she does what she wants to do. And that's pretty much what she wanted. And she thought that I fit the perfect description because of certain characteristics that I displayed that I didn't understand at the time, that growing up were beaten into me, and I'm deprogramming myself. And this situation helped me get to the point to where I'm at today, where I'm working on deprogramming myself 100% from what was taught to me growing up. Because even though it was beaten into me, I always had this spirit within me that they tried to stomp on and put out, but they never could. And that's the spirit of me living the best life that I can and being the best version of myself, and understanding that in some people's minds and in some people's actions, they are going to consider me to be the enemy, even when I'm not trying to hurt or harm them, just because I'm not doing what it is that they want me to do. You see, a narcissist isn't going to go around and helping people just out of the kindness of his heart. And I've done that before I was a part of any organizations. And I talked about this so many times in my videos. I've done this without organizations. I've done this inside and outside of religious organizations. You know, I tried to be a upstanding gentleman, even though I have my humanistic flaws, and everybody does, and I made a lot of mistakes just like everybody else does. But I still was making efforts. But I realized that there are certain men that get a pass for their mistakes, while other men never get a pass for their mistakes. And that's because there are certain men that were programmed a certain way that get the respect that men should automatically get. And my father, he told me something recently, and I had to accept it as what it is being real. And he said that, the problem with the B dubs and the B men, you know, is that the B dubs, the person that they really like and that they really want to be with, they'll bend over backwards for him. But the man that they don't like or they don't respect, or they don't want, they are going to try to tear and crumble that man up, no matter how good that man is. And I had to reflect on my personal life. And I had to admit that I usually fell in that second category. It was very rarely that I ran into a woman that was willing to bend over backwards for me and do what it is that I wanted her to do, or I needed her to do. And that's even when I was married. That didn't happen. And so he was saying that in life, either you're going to be the pimp or you're going to be the trick. And most men, especially the ones that fall into the blue pill category, they usually become tricks, even in marriage. When I talked about almost all relationships are transactional, there are a lot of people in marriages that are transactional, where the men are tricks, where they do everything that the wife wants them to do, and she can fuss and she can nag and she can complain about him, and she can make him feel like nothing that he does is good enough, but he still is going to bend over backwards for her because he's afraid of losing her. And now you have a situation where you have men that are willing to openly share the same woman because they're not getting any play for anybody else. And I'm not going to uh, shame those men for doing that, but I know that me personally, I'm not going to allow myself to be in a relationship like that where this woman is openly disrespecting me. She's openly having another man that she's in love with while she's with me, and possibly just using me for what it is that I can do for her. And even while I'm doing all that for her, she probably will feel like it's not enough. And then she'll try to bring in even more men into that relationship. And that's what this polyamorous thing is going on. Like, even though I don't frown upon polygyny, and that's when a man have more than one woman, I say that if he does that, he has to be able to provide for both of those women equally. But on the flip side, when women are doing it, it's more about power and more about, you know, having her needs fulfilled and not fulfilling the needs of those men, and pretty much rationing out her energy to those men and leaving those men hanging and desperate for attention. And I'm at the point to where I'm like, okay, I see where society is heading at, and I have to do what's best for me. And I chose to, get my passport and do some traveling and, live my life to the best of my ability to where I'm at while I'm working on self improvement. And even while I'm doing that, I've been, called all types of names, been shamed, been even further ostracized to a certain extent. And I understand what it is that I'm not able to be controlled in the way that people think that they should be able to control me, because they see my characteristics in the way that I carry myself, and they can't figure out why it is that they can't get me to do what it is that they want me to do. And that's because I'm not that type of person that you think that I am. I can be a good guy, but I'm not going to allow you to just run over me. I probably ain't the tallest guy. I'm probably not the toughest guy. I'm probably not the one that wants to fight or want to have confrontations, but at the same time, I'm willing to bust a cap in somebody and not feel bad about it if I have to do so. And that's not to throw any threats out there or to make myself seem like I'm tough, because I'm going to tell you like this: I'm not trying to get into any fights, any confrontations like that. I'm not, that's not what it is that I'm about. I'm not about trying to compete and show, oh, I'm the one with the biggest scrotum out here or anything like that. That's not who I am as a person. And I don't think that I'm better than anybody. But at the same time, if I have a certain preference, I'm not going to allow others to shame me. I'm just going to allow myself not to be in their presence anymore if they think that whatever it is that I desire, I'm not good enough for that. Because I don't need to be around that type of negative energy. Period. Even if it never happens, even if I never get what it is that I'm looking for, I don't need somebody in my face constantly telling me I'm not going to get that, and I deserve way worse than what it is that I possibly should get. I'm probably not going to get the optimal level of what it is that I'm looking for. But if I get a decent woman who I'm attracted to, who treats me good, does for me, allows me to do for her as well, where we can have a cooperative relationship and not one that's combative, not one where she would go out and embarrass me, not one where I'll have to explain myself to why it is that I'm with her, then that's a good situation. You see, and I'm not saying that I've been with just ugly women, because I haven't. Like, I've been with some good looking women, but the way that they acted was trifling. And so it didn't work out. And they didn't want to change the way that they were because, hey, they didn't respect me. And it took me a while to understand that I can't change anybody. And me trying to change somebody is a narcissistic trait. You see what I'm saying? And I had to understand that about myself. Even though I'm not a narcissist, there were certain traits that I had that was coming off very narcissistic to other people. Me trying to change somebody into what it is that I needed them to be, me trying to fit into certain groups that I didn't fit into, me trying to present myself in a way that really isn't me, so I could have an image that people will admire and look up to, instead of just being myself, who it is that I'm revealing to you right here in this video. And I had to say, hey, I have to change these things about myself. I can't be presenting myself like this, because all I'm doing is becoming an easy target for real narcissists to come in and bomb on me and project their shortcomings on me and their insecurities on me, and make me feel bad about myself so I can do what it is that everybody else want me to do. And then I'll fall into that another big false image, and I see other men doing this, and I'm not going to shame these men because I understand why it is that they do it, and they settle for these situations where they're in a polyamorous relationship, or they with a woman that they're not really attracted to, because they like, hey, this is the best that I can do. She might do a little bit of stuff for him, but she really doesn't respect him, period. And that's what it boils down to. And it's hard as a man to be by yourself. It's hard as a man to, you know, not be in communications with certain family members or certain people that you've been friends with for a long time, because you know that you deserve better and that you deserve a certain level of respect that these people cannot give you, and you cannot force them to give it to you. It's kind of like when, and I'm going to use the Bible for example, when Jesus uh, was back in his hometown where he grew up, Nazareth, and he was speaking to the people, and the people weren't really being receptive of him, even though they heard of the things that he did, and they was just like, isn't this Joseph's son? Kind of just brushing him off like he didn't matter. And that's because they couldn't get out of their head the image of that person that they had from previous experiences. And that's something that I had to come into grips with, that there are certain individuals that will never notice or never see the change that I've made and the improvements that I made, because in their mind, I'm still the same guy that I was back in high school or grade school. I'm still the same guy that I was when I was in the military. I'm still the same guy that did security for over 9 years downtown. Even though I'm not in those situations anymore, there are still certain people that cannot look at me outside of what it is that they saw of me during those periods of my life. Even though they know that I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences, especially through the last 3 years, but in their minds, they still are looking at me like I'm still that same guy that I was back then. And they still going to try to pile in all those old insecurities that I had on me right now, and remind me of who I used to be, and say that you're still this person right now. And I know that that isn't true. And they're going to say, no matter how much money you got, no matter how hard you try, that this is what it is that you are. And there's nothing you can do about it. And they want me to believe that so bad. But I said in my mind, I'm not going to allow those people to tear me down. If I have to move around, I have to move around. I used to want to stay in Chicago. I can't stay there anymore. My days living and being a resident in the city of Chicago are over. I understand that. I had to adapt that to that reality in my mind, because I understood that realistically, me being in that city isn't going to do nothing but keep on re-triggering all those traumas, those past traumas that I dealt with in my life. And I'll never be able to fully recover from what it is that I'm trying to recover from. And you see, and when I joined certain organizations to try to show that I was improving, that I was being a better person, it came off like, oh, this person thinks that he's better than everybody else. And that's how it was taken. It was taken that I was being narcissistic, even though I wasn't. And then I had to understand that even though I wasn't being narcissistic, that was the image that they had in their head about me. And it was far from the truth. You know, like some people, you have such a big heart that people think that they should be able to step all over it. You see, and then when you take your heart away and you go to repair it and you go to clean off all those footprints that they left on it, they get mad at you and say, hey, why did you move your heart from us? We supposed to use you as a utility. We supposed to use you as a punching bag. Oh, you're narcissistic because you're not letting us do you dirty the way that we want to do you dirty. And I found myself in that situation, and I had to ask myself an honest question. Am I a narcissist? And the answer is no, I'm not. However, I had a lot of narcissistic traits that people picked up on. I had a lot of things that I had to work upon myself, some insecurities that I had upon myself that I need to work upon. Some of it that was programmed into me, and I'm going to go on on what was programmed into me in my next video that I'm deprogramming for myself so I can move forward. So I won't have any type of narcissistic traits, that I can live in reality, that I can give up on hope and on any expectations, and understanding that I can't allow myself to be dictated by other people's hopes and expectations. This is me learning what it is that I need to do for myself to be able to live this life that I'm living, because I'm already dealing with enough stresses as it is. And I know that there's a lot of men that go through this, and it's a lot of men that don't know how to fully express what it is that they're going through. And that's one of the reasons why I make these videos, is for self-improvement, not only for myself, but for the listeners that want to listen to this, that feel like they're getting something about, like getting something out of this, that they can understand where it is that I'm coming from, and they can say, "Wow, I understand what it is that I'm going through now because I'm listening to what it is that this man is saying." But with that being said, this is just Bob Bowman. I want to remind you to please like, share, and subscribe. If you like this video, I really encourage you to look at my other videos. I've been making videos since August of last year. And no, actually, yeah, August of last year. So I made a commitment to just do this for as long as I can. Uh, I have about 10 more videos that I have planned coming up. And then after I do these last 10 videos, I'm going to take a break. And then I'm going to come back with even more subjects. This is just Bob Bowman, and I'm out.